Let me start with something that's gonna make you pause the next time you open your closet. When you put on that outfit, or when you pick that haircut, or when you repeat that same phrase that everyone's saying right now, are you really being yourself? Or are you wearing the default skin, so to say? Because I swear, we have a whole generation walking around as characters that they've just downloaded. And it's wild to me because we have access to everything. Every era, every subculture, every niche interest that's ever existed. You can learn about anything in 2 minutes. You can go so deep into some random topic that you end up knowing more than people who studied it in school. And yet, somehow we still end up acting like the same few templates. The same fits, the same phrases, the same opinions and personality, the same taste in everything. And we call it individuality. Now, for real, think about it. You meet someone, you talk to them for maybe 2 minutes, and you can already predict their whole starter pack. You can predict what they wear, what they listen to, what they eat, what they post, what they laugh at. And it's like they're not even a person yet. They're like a bundle, like a Fortnite item shop bundle. And before you get defensive, I'm the same way. I've been that guy. I've bought the thing because someone else said it made me look cool. I've picked something because I thought it would make me fit in, right? I pretended to like something because it felt safer than admitting that I just didn't get it. So this isn't me talking down. This is me talking to you like I talk to my own self. Because the cost of living like a template is real, right? You lose the joy of actually discovering yourself. You lose the feeling of having your own taste. You lose the moment where you put something on, or you say something, or you show someone a song, and it feels like you're handing them a piece of you. It's so rare now. It's all borrowed. And the thing that annoys me the most is how normal it's become. Like, nobody questions it. We just accept this idea that your feed gets to choose your personality, and you're supposed to be grateful. Like, yeah, sure, the algorithm knows you. It knows what you pause on. It knows what makes your brain light up. It knows what makes you feel insecure. But that doesn't mean it knows who you are. It knows what keeps you scrolling, but there's a difference between those two, right? And I think a lot of people don't want to admit this because it would force a scary realization. A lot of your taste isn't taste, and a lot of your identity isn't actually identity. It's just exposure and repetition. It's just you being around the same content long enough to start acting like it. Do you ever meet someone and you can tell what corner of the internet raised them? Like, you can hear the comment section and the way they talk. The same jokes, the same opinions that sound like they were copy pasted. And again, I'm not acting like I've never done it. Everybody does it a little. But when it becomes your whole personality, something is off. And it starts young too. I still remember being a kid and genuinely thinking I was the flyest person alive. And then one comment from someone at school made me panic. One comment, and suddenly I needed to change everything. Like I was gonna get exiled if I didn't. So I begged for whatever the cool thing was at the time. Not even because I loved it, but because I didn't want to get cooked again. And the day I finally got it, I remember looking at myself and feeling this weird disgust. Like, why do I look like a walking advertisement? Why does this feel like I'm wearing somebody else's life? That moment is important because it shows you how this happens. You don't become a copy because you're dumb. You become a copy because you're scared. You're scared of being judged, scared of being alone, scared of being seen as weird, scared of being the one who doesn't get it. So you take the safe route. And the safe route is always the default skin. The default skin gets you through the party with minimal friction. It gets you through the first impression. It gets you through the easiest social acceptance. But it also makes your life feel empty because you're not actually building anything real. You're just trying to blend in. And I know some people are going to hear this and be like, why does it matter? It's just clothes, it's just trends. Okay, but it's not only clothes. It's how you think, it's what you want, it's what you believe your life is supposed to look like. Because when you start outsourcing your style, you start outsourcing everything else too. You start outsourcing your goals, your values, what you think is impressive. You start outsourcing what you think is a good life. And then one day you realize that you've been living a life that makes sense for someone else, not yourself. I want you to do a little test right now. Not a big spiritual moment, just a simple test. If you couldn't show anyone else what you're doing, right? You're not posting, no story, no look at me kind of feeling. Would you still do it? Would you still dress like that? Would you still go to that place? Would you still buy that? Would you still care about that? Because a lot of people don't realize how much their life is basically a performance for a room they can't even see. And that room decides what you do next. It decides what you think is cool, decides what you think is embarrassing, decides what you're allowed to like. So you end up with this sort of fake personality that's built in to survive this room that's made up in your head. It's not built to satisfy you. And that's why most people never become themselves. They never give themselves a chance. They don't explore. They pick a limiting box early on. They pick an archetype and then they guard it like their life depends on it. Oh, I'm a gym guy. Oh, I'm an alt girl. I'm a finance bro. I'm a minimalist. I'm a gamer. I'm a party person. Okay, cool. But do you know how many people I've met where if you take away the archetype, there's nothing underneath? There's no personality, no curiosity, no random interests, no stories. It's like they've let a uniform become their entire personality. It's just a script. And it makes conversations feel completely dead. That's why you can talk to someone for 20 minutes and feel like you've learned nothing about them. Because they're not even showing you themselves. They're showing you the template that you've seen hundreds of times from other people. And you're not going to connect with that template. You can hang out with it, sure. You can scroll through a template. You can date a template, but you can't build a friendship or a real relationship with one. You can't have that 2 hours felt like 10 minutes conversation with one. Because these templates are predictable. And predictable is safe, sure. But it gets boring when you want a real connection. And I'm not saying you should try to be unique like it's a sport. That's a trap too. That's almost a archetype in itself. People chase uniqueness just to be perceived. That's still not you. That's still a performance. I'm talking about something simpler. I'm talking about having a genuine relationship with your own taste. Like you actually know why you like something. Not it's trending. Not everyone likes it. Not it's what people wear. You like it because you like it. And I know that sounds obvious, but I've come to realize just how rare that actually is. Some people haven't asked themselves what they like in years. You know, they've asked what the room likes, they've asked what their feed shows them, they've asked what the cool people like, and then they build themselves around that. And then they become the safe version of themselves, and they lose all the joy in their life. Because joy is personal. Joy comes from your weird little passions. It comes from your random interests. It comes from the stuff that you'd still do even if nobody was clapping for you. I met people who have that. You can feel it on them. They can talk about something and their eyes change. Like they have real enthusiasm for that thing. They'll tell you about a brand's history or some random hobby or an old game or a very specific type of music. And you can tell that they're not trying to impress you. They just genuinely enjoy that thing and they're just alive. And the crazy part is those people become magnetic without even trying. Because everyone is tired of talking to copies. So when you meet someone who feels like a real person and not just a template, it's almost refreshing. It's like, oh my god, you exist. You have your own brain. And I think we've lost that a little. We don't have trees of interest anymore. We have rows of interest. A couple predictable likes, a couple predictable opinions, a couple predictable brands, and everyone in that niche is the exact same. That's the whole identity. And I'm telling you right now, that's not how a human being is supposed to live. Humans are supposed to be layered. They are contradictions. You can love lifting and still love soft music. You can love gaming and still love fashion. You can love sports and still be into something nerdy that nobody expects. That's the fun part. That's you. But you've been trained to keep yourself in a box because boxes are easy to market. Boxes are easy for other people to understand. They're easy for you to explain. They're easy to sell stuff to. And an explanation has become a weird addiction. A lot of people don't do things because they can't explain it. They want to justify every preference like they're writing a thesis. You don't need permission to like something. You don't need permission to explore things. You don't need permission to change. And that's another reason people never become themselves, I think. They think they have to be consistent. They think that if they change their style or their interests or their vibe, then they're fake. No. You're human. You evolved. You're allowed to outgrow phases. You're allowed to be in a weird in-between phase where you're just trying different things. You're allowed to experiment too. Experimenting is how you find yourself. You don't find yourself by sitting there and thinking about it. You find yourself by touching life, by trying new things, by talking to different kinds of people, by changing your routine. Buying one weird piece of clothing that actually makes you happy, even if it's not what your feed shows you should like. I'll be honest, one of the saddest things is when someone says, I don't really have hobbies. And they say it like it's normal. That's not normal. That's a person who's never explored because they were afraid of being bad at things. Or they were too busy being busy. Or they were too busy keeping up with the image that they think they should look like. So their life becomes just consumption. They consume content, consume trends, consume opinions. And you can consume forever and still feel empty. Because you don't become yourself through consumption. You become yourself through participation. And through choice and action. Through little moments where you pick up something that feels true, even if it's not popular, even if it's not impressive, even if it's not in right now. Now I want to talk about the phrase, being yourself. People treat that like it's something you already are, like you're born with it fully formed. Most people's self got edited, it got shaped, and it got trained. You learned what got you rewarded, and you leaned into it. You learned what got you teased, and you hit it. So now becoming yourself is basically undoing years of editing. Not in a dramatic way, but in like a daily life way. Stop laughing at stuff that you don't find funny. Stop buying stuff that you don't even like. Stop pretending you're into things you don't even care about. Stop copying the exact same persona as everyone else just because it feels safe. And if you're worried that doing that will make you lonely, that's a fair fear, right? Because sometimes becoming yourself does separate you from people who only liked the version of you that performed. And that hurts. But there's another kind of loneliness that's worse. Being surrounded by people while still feeling unseen. Living in a crowd while feeling like nobody actually knows you. That's what happens when you live as a template. So yeah, becoming yourself might cost you some surface level belonging. But it makes room for real belonging, real friends, real conversations, real relationships with people who actually like you for you and not just your character. Here's the thing that people don't understand until later. When you're being yourself, you don't need as much validation because you're not constantly checking if you're doing it right. You feel grounded. You feel like you're living from the inside out. And that feeling is priceless. So if you're watching this and you feel called out, good. That means you still have a pulse. That means you still care. And here's what I want you to do this week. Not a huge transformation, nothing cringe, nothing performative. Pick one thing you like that you've been hiding. One. And wear it, or play it, or talk about it, or research it, or bring it up casually. Let someone see that side of you. And if someone judges you, let them. If someone doesn't get it, let them as well. But you're not here to be universally improved. You're here to be yourself. And once you start building your character on purpose, everything gets better. Your conversations get better. Your confidence gets real. You stop feeling like a copy and paste of a whole group of people. You start feeling like a real person. That's the goal. Not being unique for the sake of being unique. Being honest for the sake of being alive. So next time you're about to buy the shirt, or say the phrase, or copy the aesthetic, or post the thing, or join the trend, ask yourself quietly, like, do you actually mean it? Is that really me? And if the answer is no, you know what to do. Pick something else. Even if it feels a bit uncomfortable, even if it's unfamiliar. That discomfort is usually you meeting yourself for the first time in a long time. And if you're trying something new, like actually trying to live for yourself rather than living for other people's approval, just know I believe in you. You've got this. Have a good day.